Hello, my name is David, and my group and I will be presenting Egypt and the business aspects in this country. Here's Jaylene with an overview and safety considerations.
This is information that you need to know before your visit. So you're going to need a work/business visa prior to going. Your passport does have to be valid for 6 months. Currency restrictions are less than 10,000. You'll have to exchange your US dollars for pounds either prior to going or over there. The language that's most spoken here is Arabic. Weather is in the high 80s during the day and low 60s at night. You do not travel to the Sinai Peninsula due to terrorism. The most practiced religion is Islam, and tipping is very common. So for travel and transportation, one of the popular airports is the Cairo Airport. So you will need to find a company that will pick you up and take you to your hotel. You could also take an Uber or hire a driver for your whole stay. I would advise you not to rent your own car due to a lot of casualties in car accidents. And next is Mohammed with business etiquette.
So to start off, we need to discuss the greetings. It's very important to know that it's considered inappropriate to make physical contact with females in public. So it's best to know that and to try to avoid doing that. A handshake may be okay every now and then, but always assess your situation before doing anything. It's not uncommon to see men greeting each other with a kiss or two on the cheek, but that might be more for close friends. If you don't know the person, it's best to shake their hand, wait a couple seconds, see if they pull you in. Like I said, just assess the situation. Don't rush, and if they pull you in for a kiss on the cheek, then you will proceed. Next, I'll be talking about what you should do if you're invited to a meeting over a meal. So it's important to know that most Muslims do not consume alcohol. There is alcohol in Egypt, so if your host does provide alcohol, or if they tell you it's okay, then it might be okay to go ahead and consume alcohol. But if your host doesn't drink alcohol, then it might be best to avoid purchasing any alcohol. Most Muslims also do not consume pork, and while it's very rare to find pork in Egypt, you might go to a restaurant here or there that might have it. And like I said, if you feel like your host is okay with it, then you can go ahead. But generally, out of respect, you should probably avoid doing that. Some might find it disrespectful to eat with your left hand. Most people don't, but it's good to ask around, get to know your host better, and like I said, assess the situation and get to know who you are sitting down with. Now, there is this thing called Arab hospitality. Your host may try to pay the bill after the meal. If they insist, it might be disrespectful to refuse, especially if they insist more than once. So just go ahead and say yes if they do. And if you do have a meeting during Ramadan, try to avoid eating in the presence of fasting Muslims. It can be extremely disrespectful. Understand that they don't get to eat, and you can eat in the privacy of your own home. Always remember to assess the situation, pay close attention to your host. If your host says it's okay, then you can go ahead. So the call to prayer. Prayer is held 5 times a day during the break of dawn, noon, afternoon, evening, and night. And while nothing is required of you, it's good to know your host and know the people you are working with out of respect. And while many Muslims prefer to pray after work, not all of them will. And that might be actually the break during the meeting is the call to prayer. It might be a prayer break. So next we have Sam discussing the negotiations aspect in Egypt.
Okay, so business in Egypt. Business is at a slow pace, so be prepared to go into the meetings more than once. They are considered to be tough negotiators, and the social aspect plays a major role in conducting business. They have to like you in order to start talking about business. Business is not conducted on Friday, and it is also recommended to include research and documentation about your claims. There is a hierarchy within the business world in Egypt, so they follow that thoroughly. Bargaining. So in Egypt, they tend to bargain a lot during the business meetings. They do have the bazaar trader. They do use deceptive techniques as well as pressure techniques. And they will take offense if you do not play along with them. Corruption and bribery is also common within doing negotiations. Lastly, contracts and agreements. Contracts, they are viewed as guidelines for conducting business. Agreement lies on commitment, not on written paper. So you should always remain flexible upon your agreement, because they will, if things tend to change in the future, they will ask if you'll be able to change some stuff on the contract. Next, my classmate Alexis will be going over social aspects of business.
Business meetings do tend to happen over meals, and I do mean all types of meals, including breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and even events. Now, if you are invited to an event which is hosted into their own home, you would normally remove your shoes before entering, dress well and conservatively, like appropriateness, appearance are important to Egyptians. When you enter their house, you always want to compliment the host of their home for how the decorations are and all the hard work they put into it. The things you need to avoid is do not cross your legs when sitting. You do not want to show the bottom of your foot because it's considered to be offensive. Avoid gestures with your left hand. Do not point because it is extremely rude. Gift awareness. When giving a gift, you have to give a gift when you're invited into an Egyptian's home for dinner. Bring good quality of chocolates, sweets, or pastries to the hostess. Do not give flowers. That is restricted because it is only for weddings. A small gift for children shows affection, so you are more than welcome, but it is not reliable for you to bring one. Always give gifts with the right hand or both hands if the gift is heavy. Gifts are not open when received. The key point of this is that if you want to bring a gift, it's not required and it does not make you more presentable. But if you do tend to bring a gift, they would have to be custom made. Don't forget to give and receive them using your right hand or with both hands, never with your left. Now here is David with other considerations to finish you off with the presentation.
So some other considerations when traveling to Egypt. It is best to get a liaison that is from Egypt or at least speaks Arabic and is well versed in all the cultural and business aspects. They'll assist in overcoming any communication barriers and give you a little bit more credibility. The pace of work in Egypt is slower than in the United States. Negotiations will take time and immediate results should not be expected. And nepotism is actually a positive aspect of Egyptian culture. Favoring your relatives or your friends is common, and Egypt emphasizes networking over expertise. Those are the main considerations we have, and this has been an overview of Egypt and its business aspects. Thank you.